Well, good afternoon. Had a great win on Saturday. I was really pleased with how the guys came out and had a lot of energy and emotion to start the game. We were able to get a couple drives together and get points. We were a little frustrated of not getting a touchdown on the second drive. The first drive, I thought they did a really nice job in the red zone. Second drive, we would have liked to have gotten a touchdown. We thought we maybe missed a play, but then from there, I thought our kids really did a nice job of settling into the game plan. I thought our defense played exceptionally well, and offense was able to capitalize on a number of turnovers. The real critical time of that game was when they were able to score with less than 50 seconds, 40 seconds left for half, and then they pooched it to us, and we were really going to probably run out the clock, and John broke around the end and got maybe 10 or 12 yards, and then we decided, okay, we've got 2 timeouts. Let's try to see if we can get something going. And I had talked to Adam before the game, and Adam felt really good, upwards of 50 to 55 yards. And so put a couple plays together, and I thought Carson did a great job of managing that clock and time, and it was as good of a kick as I've seen Adam make. He boomed it, got great elevation, made it by at least 8-10 yards, and that was a big lift going into halftime at 23-7. And then the second half, similar to the week before, we had to make a stop on defense, and we had to be able to score on offense quickly to seize the momentum back, and we were able to do that. And really happy with the way our kids responded and played for 4 quarters, and we finished this game. And that was one thing we emphasized to our team is, you know, even if we get ahead and at second half, let's finish the game. And I was real pleased that we did finish the game. So I'll open up for questions.
In your previous seasons here, how has the game plan changed at all going up against SDSU and the way that you guys defend that team?
Yes, it really has. I mean, as on our defense, yeah, we've changed because we played them twice in 3 weeks in 2012. So, yeah, every week or every time we've played those guys, we've tweaked a number of things from coverage, from front. You know, it's the same formula. How do you stop Zenner? But for the most part, we've done it a lot of different ways, and we're going to have to try to be creative and find another way again because he's a special running back.
What is it about your defense that Zenner can run up against Missouri or anybody else, but against you guys he has not done anything?
We've been fortunate. We've played really well. I agree. For 3 years we've played really well, but we also know that he could bust one at any time. So what has happened in the past has happened in the past, and we've got to find a way to have a great plan again, because if somebody misses a fit and gets out of gap, he's going to take it to the house. And we've been fortunate. We've had a lot of upperclassmen defensive tackles that have kept their gaps, upperclassmen linebackers that have kept their gaps, safeties that have been understanding the fits on things from Shep to even Bobby Ullman and stuff in the past. But if you don't have your fits precise and you don't quite hit it right, he's going to take it the distance. So what we've done in the past has been great, but that has no merit or no value on what we're going to do this week because he's a special player.
Chris, will you have any more hands-on this week from schemes and things like that than you would on a normal week?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I've had a good couple hours with the offense today, a good couple hours with the defense today, just kind of listening and maybe interjecting a few things that had been successful in the past on defense, as well as, you know, offense, just kind of looking at what they're doing schematically to see if there's some ways we can find some plays, but no different than it's been on a normal Monday.
I know Lujan has come in, and I think he threw for 329 on Saturday, and you know, some of their kind of runs around and they get a little bit, but they're kind of a dangerous. Have you seen, just looking at their receivers, are they kind of a dangerous team that way, that more so than you would have thought?
Well, I think the receivers are exceptional. They're tall, physical receivers that go up and get the football. They have unbelievable ball skills, and the quarterback's been able to put it in some spots, and they've made some really good plays. I've been really impressed with the way that he's been able to scramble around and make plays with his feet, as well as scramble around and find a receiver open late. So he just adds a little bit more of an element of being able to run the football if things break down, and that's where I think he's done a tremendous job. He's played really well for a guy that's come in. I can't remember. I don't think he was there in the spring. But I think he's done a great job coming in when he didn't think he was going to play. and then get thrown into the fire against Missouri. And I think, and Stig would say he's probably gotten better each week.
Coach, are early red zone, struggles less of a concern when your team's still winning by 23, 24?
Yeah, they're always a concern. I don't know if you'd say less. They're just always a concern that we've got to find a way to get touchdowns. On, you're right. If you lose that game, people are saying, boy, you left 2 touchdowns out there, at least early on in the game. Late in the game, it's a little bit different. The play calls are a little different. But early on in the game, I agree, whether you date it back to Montana and stuff. But in general, I think it's just harder to score in the red zone. The field condenses, it shrinks down, and so it's something that we're going to continue to emphasize. And we've spent some extra time on some red zone periods in practice, and maybe it's just one block that's missed that, okay, it's sprung loose. John had the touchdown run. Well, we ran the same play on the other end, and it probably should have been a touchdown, and we miss a block. Well, then we're back in the 2nd and 10 or 12, and your play calls are a lot different than they are on 2nd and 4. But it's definitely a concern.
Do you think it's more execution as opposed to, say, Tim trying to?
Absolutely, it's execution. Exactly right. And even to the point of our red zone defense, their kid made a great play in getting a touchdown. I think Matt made a great call, and give their kid credit. They executed that play, and we didn't execute on defense. So, but it's something red zone will always continue to emphasize. We need to be able to get some touchdowns. Absolutely.
I think Sumner may or may not play. What you guessing about that right now?
Yeah, I am guessing. I'm assuming they would love to have him play, and if he's ready to play, they would play him. But I'm sure that Stig is going to do what's in the best interest of Sumner, and if he's not ready, I don't think Stig would play him. But I don't really have any idea. Maybe we'll learn more tomorrow. But I think we've got to go into the game with the idea of they're probably not changing a whole bunch of their game plan based on who's playing quarterback. It's still a formula. They've got to get Zenner the football and utilize play action pass.
You prep for 2 quarterbacks?
No, not necessarily, because I think the system would stay the same for both guys. They're still running their zone. They're still running their power in the run game. They're running some counter and stuff. It's no matter who plays quarterback. I think that's how it's going to be. Because they still want to make sure they get Zenner his 25 to 30 touches. I mean, that's something they didn't do last year. Part of it was we were able to control the football offensively a little bit, but they're going to make sure that Zenner gets his touches, and he's an unbelievable back. He's the best one in this league scene right now.
Coach, I know how much you like to say every game, is the same. The mindset going into it is the same. But with this rivalry week and this rivalry game, are you comfortable telling your players that this one has a little bit more juice to it?
I don't have to. Our kids do. Just like I'm sure on their end, Stig doesn't have to. Their players will. It's a great rivalry. It's a fun game to be a part of. I know our kids enjoy playing in the game. I'm sure their kids enjoy playing in the game. And no, both teams will be up. Both teams will be ready to play this game now. It's just a matter of who executes the best and who comes up with the best plan.
Coach, you came in as an outsider a few years ago. What have you seen from this rivalry that's assured you that these two teams, that it is a rivalry, I guess?
Well, you can just see the energy in the play of both teams. You can see the energy from the fans being down there and playing them up here. I think it's one of those things that's great for college football. I enjoy playing in it, and it's one of the games that I know our guys always highlight on the schedule to say that's one that we enjoy playing in.
How do you size up the Missouri Valley right now, Chris, in the standings?
Probably halfway. I think we're about halfway through it, and the Illinois State's has done a great job staying undefeated, and we have as well. Youngstown's done a nice job. I think there's so many teams that are right in the thick of it, in the hunt still, that we've got a lot of football left that nobody's out of it in that 2-loss column, in my opinion. I mean, we've got 4 really tough games left, leading off with South Dakota State, and we still hope, speaking from the Valley, that we're able to get a minimum of 4 and hopefully 5 teams in, but that'll play out over the next 4 weeks.
Travis Beck and Jeremy Kelly, what are their statuses for Saturday?
We'll find out probably more early in the week, but I envision Travis playing for sure. Jeremy's probably one that we've got to wait and see, but Travis will be ready to go, I'm sure.
What about Cooner?
Cooner will be ready to go for sure. Vodlin, we still need to wait and see.
The way Nick DeLuca played on Saturday, do you envision getting him more reps?
You bet. You somewhere, whether it's as a starter or whether it's in a backup role, I don't think Nick cares as well. Nick wants to play, and Nick proved that he needs to be out there. So, we talked about it as a staff on Sunday. It gives us 4 guys to be able to rotate that we feel really strong about, and we've got to be able to get Carlton out of there a half a dozen snaps, as well as S and Travis. So, whether that means Nick plays, 15 to 20 snaps or upwards of 30 to 40 snaps, we feel really comfortable with him, and some of it will dictate on what personnel and how they play. Are they a spread team, or are they going to get in with 2 tight ends?
Are you comfortable putting Nick at any of those 3 linebacker positions?
No, he's the one that's going to stay at Mike. The other guys are the ones that been in the program for 5 years. They're going to play everything else. But Nick would always play the Mike, and then the other 3 know all the other positions.
So could Travis play Sam or Will too?
You bet. He can play Sam, Will, or the nickel spot. S can play Sam, Will, or nickel, and now Carlton has done them all as well.
What do you think it was, Coach, that other teams missed on Nick with his size? That seems like he would scream out that Nebraska or someone would have taken a look at him.
I think the only thing I could say would be, because he didn't come to our camp, were people thinking he was going to end up being a defensive end. And that was always the joke that when his first year is here, we'd love to get you down with your hand on the ground and stuff. And then, I know when I became head coach, I grabbed him in January and said, Nick, you're a linebacker, and don't worry about me moving you to defensive end. You're going to play linebacker for us, and we're looking forward to you being – and it was great this spring because he took every rep because Carl was out all spring, and we saw some great things out of Nick. But like I told you guys on Saturday, it's tough to crack our lineup, and it's tough to, in the heat of a tight game to go, okay, let's put the young guy in. So, it kind of forced us to, which I'm glad it did, because he proved that he belongs and can play on this stage. And so I think it's going to really help us moving forward here the rest of the season.
So he could have maybe moved on to FBS as DN?
I don't know if he could have or not. But that'd be my only thing is, would have people thought with his size, would he be a defensive end? Because he only played linebacker in high school.
Coach, what's the deal with Eric Perkins? I know he hasn't dressed for the last couple of games.
He's had a groin that's just not gotten better, and so hasn't been able to practice. And it's not a lot different than a lot. Kevin Vodlin or Travis. If you don't practice, and you don't get those preparation the whole week long with the practice reps, you're not going to be probably very effective in a game, especially a guy like Eric that hasn't played many snaps for us. Zach Vra maybe could do it because he's had so many game snaps, and even Zach needs that practice time, but Perk hasn't been able to practice full go.
Coach, we haven't talked a lot about Carson, and that's probably because he's just done his job. Is this what you expected from him at this point?
You bet. Carson's having a great season. He's continuing to learn, continuing to get better. I see him. That's the thing that I like about this team right now is we still can grow. We can still get better at positions, at segments, at specific things, whether it's the play action game, whether it's the run game, whether it's our run defense, our red zone offense, whatever you may say. We feel we can continue to improve, and that's what we're excited about. Is we need to improve moving forward.
You say this will be the biggest challenge for your interior linemen since Iowa State for Schatz and Tangway this weekend, South and Center?
Yeah, I think they're really good up front. And you've got to be gap sound. And it's not just those two; it's the entire run defense. And you guys have seen it. We use our corners, we use our safeties, we use everybody. So it's such an important preparation week, and we've always put an awful lot of added emphasis to making sure that you're in your fit with Zenner. And we'll use Lance Dunn probably a lot more because Lance is such a great cutback and jump cut runner that he'll give us a tremendous look.
Are they using fullbacks more than they have in the past?
This year they are. Exactly right, Brian. They're more so. We looked at my call sheet from last year and didn't have a fullback. It was more what we would call 12 personnel or 2 tight ends, and this year it's a lot more 21 personnel or a tailback and a fullback. So, yeah, for whatever reason, there a lot of the same formations, but just using a fullback more.
It's 3 in a row of this offense being pretty sound. Your thoughts on that after some inconsistencies earlier in the year?
Yeah, I think it's just continuing to grow, Jeff, and get a little bit better, gelling a little bit more, understanding the whole offense from the run game and the pass game, getting used to Carson, getting used to Croc and the other backs we have in there. I still hope we can continue to improve offensively, though, because we were out Vaudelin and Kunert last week, and I think those two will really help us. We hope to not lose Jeremy this week or moving forward for however long, but getting Kunert back will be big for us. When we can get Kevin back, you guys have seen what Lucas Albers has been able to do. If we can get Kevin and Lucas in there together, the guy that we're probably just wearing out a little bit is Andrew Bonnet. We need to try to get Kevin in there a little bit more with Lucas, and I think we're going to continue to get better on offense.
Any other questions?
Great, thanks.